Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley, and welcome to Steelers Almighty. Appreciate everybody being in here and showing up, man. We have got a good show for you guys today. I think you guys are really going to like this one, man. We have got Steelers Almighty mock draft by position. Now, let me explain to you what I'm talking about by position. We have come up with a couple of different scenarios for the Pittsburgh Steelers on who they are going to draft first. We did 4 different scenarios. We didn't necessarily do it in the order that we think they're going to take these players in position, but we did it by position first. And let me explain a little bit more on what I'm talking about. Is, for instance, first, we're talking about running back. If the Steelers take a running back first in the draft, then we went from there with the rest of the draft. Next up, we did cornerback. If the Steelers were to take a cornerback first in the draft, and then we took everything else for there. Then we did quarterback. If the Steelers took a quarterback first in the draft, and then defensive line. If the Steelers were to take a defensive lineman first in the draft, and we went through there. I used several different simulators that I ran this through for each different scenario. I probably did 10 each to find out what the best situation for the Steelers could possibly be. I didn't put it in an order on what I think, hey, the Steelers are going to take a D-line first no matter what. We didn't do that. We just came up with 4 different positions. This is what we came out with. I removed wide receiver from that just for the simple fact that's the least one, the one that I least think the Steelers would take out of the positions that are available. I think they kind of solved a little bit of the wide receiver problem. Obviously, they could still make some changes. I know George Pickens, there was talk of him still being traded. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. Don't know that I want them to do that, but if they do, whatever. This is what we're doing for this one, man. So I appreciate it. I think you guys are going to like what we come up with here. So, but before we get started, as always, man, remember to like, follow, subscribe, dive into that comment section like you guys always do. And again, make sure that you hit that notification bell so you know exactly when Steelers Almighty content comes out, man. We appreciate all of your all support. We really, really do. And also remember, we definitely have memberships are available. So if you're not a member and you want to help support the channel that way, make sure that you sign up for that. Again, we got the all 22 reviews. We got the walks in the morning with Big B. We have those available too. And then on any of the lives, you have priority access or priority responses from me during those lives. So several different sections for you guys to be a member. But let's get into this, people. Let's get into this. So, all right, first up in Big B, or let's call it Steelers Almighty, Steelers mock draft, we are taking a running back in the first round at number 21. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they selected Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton, running back, North Carolina. There he is. Now, look, I know there's some people that say, why didn't you take Genty? In 0 simulations, and I mean 0, was Genty available at 21. Now, and just as a precursor to this, you know, when you do some of these, and everybody's got different simulators that they use, there were trades all over the place that I could have traded here, traded there. To make it simple, I didn't accept any trades because when you do that, then you're manipulating it kind of the way you want to. And I'm like, you know what? No, let's just take the picks as they come and let's make it fun that way. You know what I'm saying? Let's not, we traded back and we got 17 other picks. I mean, there was one where a team was offering me their entire draft for 21. Well, who's going to do that? I'll go, so, you know, it is what it is. So no trades. We didn't do any of that. So 21, we took Omarion Hampton. With our second pick, which obviously is the third round because the Steelers don't have a second round pick, Jordan Farmer, defensive line out of Florida State. He was available. Look, I know the Steelers need defensive line. There were several that were taken off, and it looked in the simulator that I did, it really pissed me off. 5 of them in a row went before the Steelers could take one. So I do like Jordan Farmer. This might seem a little high, but They were falling off the board. And I thought, you know what? I panicked. I took him, but he's a good pick for the Steelers. He can help us. Third pick overall, Denzel Burke, cornerback out of Ohio State, is our fourth round pick. Long, athletic. I like him. Little handsy, but and I know we already have a handsy cornerback, but I like long corners, long athletic corners. I think he can work well, and he plays man pretty good in this system. With the next pick, we took Luke Kandra. Luke Kandra, 6'4", 323 out of Cincinnati. I'm sorry, Quincy Riley. My mistake. We went back to back. We went cornerback again with Quincy Riley. I like Quincy Riley. I actually thought about taking him before I took Burke, but I actually took Quincy Riley next. He was still there. I didn't think there was any possible way that he would be around with this pick. Next pick. This is where we took Luke Kandra. I apologize, people. Kandra is available. Look, he's kind of a road grader. Underrated interior offensive lineman out of Cincinnati. Again, a depth piece. Kind of think Mason McCormick, little less motor, but better fundamentals. They're the exact opposite. This guy has the fundamentals, but it maybe isn't as athletic and maybe doesn't have quite the motor, but still a very good football player, especially this late in the draft. And then last, Kurtis Rouke, quarterback, Indiana. Had a great year at Indiana this year, whether you think Indiana played top competition this year or not. I'm one of those people that don't think that they did. However, he's a good developmental piece. You know, depending on where the Steelers are, we have to take a quarterback, I think, in this draft. I don't think, now, don't get me wrong, anything can happen. I'm not the one making the selections. So me saying they have to doesn't mean that they will. But I think it would be in their best interest if they got a guy in that they could start developing. Whether you think they can develop or not, that's a different conversation for a different day. The Steelers need to take that. I like this. I like this draft. We address a lot of the issues, and you guys know how I feel about Omarion Hampton. I've told you from the beginning, I think he's the best back in this draft. If the Steelers got him at 21, I'm not upset by that. I don't know necessarily about a running back in the first round, especially when there's so many. But if the Steelers feel like he's a can't miss guy, this is the guy. But we do have a poll. Let's go to that poll question, people. Very good polls today. Grade this running back focus draft. And when we say focus draft, running back being the number one pick that the Steelers take. So that's when I say this running back focus draft. We're going to do it on all these positions. Do you give it an A, B, C, D, or F? Grade this running back first focus draft. So I like it. Like I said, I like Omarion Hampton at 21. I don't know. So many needs, and so many RBs that are available. Either way, I like it. Let's move on, people. So we're going to cornerback. Cornerback is next up here. So again, a lot of different things, a lot of different ways that we could have went. But if the Steelers decide with cornerback with the first pick at number 21, I couldn't believe that he was still available when I went to make cornerback. Will Johnson out of Michigan. I I've done a ton of these. And Will Johnson was not available. He wasn't available anywhere. So I have no idea how he slipped down to number 21 in this one, but he did. Again, no trades, nothing like that. He was just available. So I snagged him. Now, are the Steelers going to take a corner first? I don't know. I don't know that it's that big of a priority. However, I have been screaming that the Steelers need to address the position. A guy like this that's available, if we were able to solve some other needs in free agency, which we haven't so far, but if we were, I mean, you can't really go, this guy is a player. He is an absolute player and would fit in well with what the Steelers are trying to do. So that's who I took when we took a cornerback. And again, we said cornerback first. This guy was available. So with the next pick, again, our second pick, which is in the third round, Steelers, he was available, people. Caleb Johnson, 6', 220 out of Iowa. Didn't run like I wanted him to run at the combine. I'm sure he'll run better at the pro day because everybody does. But Caleb Johnson was available. There's a lot of people out there that like him. Third round, he's starting to slip down the draft boards a little bit because of that 40 time. You haven't really heard his name mentioned as much lately as far as running back. And I think it's all because of that 40 time. If he bumps it up a little bit at his pro day, I think you'll start hearing his name again. But in the third round, if the Steelers can get him, he's available. Third pick, again, in the fourth round, Will Howard, quarterback, Ohio State. Now, you guys have heard me say I'm not that high on Will Howard. But the reason being is because people kept saying take Will Howard in the first round. Will Howard is not a first round running back or quarterback, excuse me. In the fourth round, okay. I have no problems with Will Howard here. So if Will Howard's available, fourth round, absolutely, let's grab him. Next pick in the fifth round, which is again is the fourth pick for the Steelers, Jamari Caldwell. Yeah, I like Jamari Caldwell. Now, this guy, we talk about nose tackle. Here's your nose tackle, 6'1", 340. You just put him in the middle and don't get moved. Two people can't move him. If he's here in the in the fifth round, excuse me, yeah, okay, I like that. He's solid. I mean, what he does is what the Steelers need. Now, again, we're in the nickel 58% of the time. So having a nose tackle doesn't really necessarily do anything for you when you're in the nickel so much. But when we are in our base defense, you got to have a nose. You can't stop the run in a 3-4 defense if you don't have a good nose tackle. And I'm sorry, Keanu Benton, he's just not big enough to do it. This guy would be. So I love the pick here. Next pick, Jalen Rivers, offensive tackle, Miami, 6'5", 325. Look, we need a swing tackle. You know, we got Broderick. We got Troy Fautanu. Troy, injury prone, as he's shown to be already in his career. We got to have somebody else that can play. This is a good developmental piece. Shows a lot of athleticism. Would love this pick if we can get him. He might go sooner than this, but in this simulation, he's still available in the fifth round or in the sixth round. Then last pick, Ricky White out of UNLV, wide receiver. We addressed wide receiver in this draft. You know, Ricky White, pretty productive. Look, they didn't throw it a ton at UNLV this past year, but when they did, they threw it to him and he caught it. And he's not a small guy. Now, he's not 200 pounds, 215 pounds, but 6'1", 190, we can live with that. Doesn't mean he's a slot receiver. He can play on the outside. I like Ricky White. I like this draft. Again, cornerback, Will Johnson. If you can get Will Johnson at 21, I mean, again, I don't know that cornerback is the most pressing need, but if you could get a guy like this late in the first round, I think you got to do it. I think you got to do it. So let's go to the poll, people. I love this draft. Grade this cornerback focused draft. A, B, C, D, F. Yeah, Will Johnson in the first, Caleb Johnson in the third, and then you can get Jamari Caldwell in the fifth. That's pretty good draft, people. That's pretty good draft. I don't know about you, but to me personally, I think that's a pretty good draft. You address a lot of needs. You get a developmental quarterback in the fourth round as well. I think that's a pretty good draft. Pretty good draft, if I don't say. Like I said, Will Johnson at 21. I hadn't even seen a simulation. It must have been listening to me when I was talking and said I knew that I was going to take cornerback in this next one. And then, boom, he was available. I have no idea. But if he is, we should jump on it. Absolutely. Let's move on. So we are at halftime. Look, as always, man, I want to thank everybody for all the support that you guys have given us since we started last year, or April 4th on last year, man. We've done a lot of videos. You guys have shown a lot of support, shown up on a lot of videos. commented, whether you agreed or disagreed, you let me know. And that's what we're looking for, man. It's just that solid feedback from everybody. We don't have to agree on everything. It's great when we do. It's also great when we don't. But the more important thing is we're out here. We love the Steelers. We want to win. So we appreciate everybody that shows up week in and week out to help support the channel. Obviously, we have the different ways that you can help support us. Again, like, follow, subscribe, hit that comment section, hit the like button, all that good stuff. But also the memberships, man. We've done a lot as far as memberships to try to bring you guys the content over there, especially the full game all 22s. We got those. We'll get those rolling out. Just continuously roll those out for you guys. They're available. We've got, the morning little chats with me in the morning time as I try to lose a weight, walking in the morning. I'm over my sickness, or at least I'm getting better so I can start walking again. So all that stuff is fun. So we've got that. Plus the interaction. When we do all the lives, if you're a member, you'll notice that I bring your comments up. Whether it's a super chat or not, I'm always bringing those comments up because you guys support the channel in that way. I'm going to respond to what you guys say first before anybody else. That's just, part of the package of what you get as being a member of Steelers Almighty. So for all of that, man, we absolutely thank you. We love you guys and appreciate your all support, man. All right, let's get back to this. So in the next mock simulator, and again, for anybody who's just catching us, we are doing a mock simulation of the Steelers draft based by position. Steelers Almighty, Pittsburgh Steeler mock draft based by position first. The next one, quarterback. The Steelers are going to take a quarterback in the first round. Let's go to that. All right. So first up, with the first pick, the Steelers at number 21, they take Jackson Dart. Now, look, I've been on record. I'm never going to be a hypocrite, people. I'm on record. I don't like Jackson Dart. I don't think he's that guy. However, if the Steelers were to take a quarterback in the first round, I believe this is what they would do. If they take a quarterback in the first round, I think they would go Jackson Dart. I don't think Jackson Dart is any better than Kenny Pickett. I think this would be a reach. If we took Jackson Dart in the third round, I would be okay with it. The third round or later, I would be okay. Just like if they would have taken Kenny Pickett in the third round or later, I would have been okay because that's where he was slotted. That's where his talent level was. But instead, the Steelers reached. 3 years later, he was no longer on the football team. And I think we all know why. So this would be the same thing for me. You reach for a Jackson Dart when you don't have to. I think in a couple of years, he won't be on the Steelers football team again. I think it would be a mistake. However, this is what we're doing. Quarterback in the first round, I think they would take Jackson Dart because the other two, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders were not available. In case anybody's wondering, they were not available in any simulation that I did at 21. Neither one of them. He was the next guy. So going to the third round, which is our second pick, I reached. I went DJ Giddens. I said, if we're reaching in this draft, let's reach again. Let's go DJ Giddens. Now, there was a few other running backs available. No Omarion Hampton, no Genty. Caleb Johnson was available, but I said, you know what? If we're reaching, let's keep reaching. DJ Giddens. Now, I like Giddens. I know I'm biased because I went to K-State, but 6'1", 212, turn on the tape. He ran faster at the combine than what I thought he did. So I can't imagine what he'll do at the pro day. He'll probably run even faster there. I like Giddens. Like I said, anybody who's not that familiar, turn on some tape of Giddens this past year. Or better yet, you can turn it on from his freshman year to his junior year, and you can see the progression on how much better he has become as a running back. That's why I like him, is because he got so much better. He now knows how to play the running back position, where before he didn't necessarily know how. He was just running with the football in his hands. Now he knows how to play the running back position, sets up blocks, sets up defenders, has some wiggle, can catch the ball. DJ, he may not be here in the third round. I think he would be. It might be a little bit of a reach, but I like DJ Giddens here for the Steelers in the third round. 4th round with our next pick, CJ West. Not necessarily big enough to be a nose, but maybe we could throw some more weight on him. He's 6'1", 317. What I think is he lost weight for the combine. That's what I believe. I believe he's a 200 or 325 pound guy during the season. That's right in the range of a nose tackle. I think he could throw some more muscle on, throw some more weight on, and he could be a nose tackle for the Steelers. The thing about him, he's athletic. And you saw that this year at Indiana, his athleticism. You also saw it at the combine. The guy was moving. I like that pick there. Next pick, Zy Alexander, cornerback out of LSU. Again, a long guy, 6'2", 194. I like him. Again, long, athletic. He's better in off man than press man. So we'll see. The Steelers, we played zone, but I know here's the thing about the Steelers that I know is going to surprise a lot of you all. We played the 8th most man of any team in the National Football League this year. I know a lot of us, myself included, complained that get out of this cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. Why are we in this zone that teams are picking apart? Well, the Steelers were in man the 8th most of anybody in the National Football League this year, which is nuts when you think about it. So there must have been a ton of teams out there that were constantly in zone defense. But I think Zay Alexander may help with that because he's better in off than he is in press coverage, which is odd to be so long. Maybe he just needs to be coached up a little bit to be a little bit better. Next pick, Jalen Rivers. Again, we talked about him earlier. Tackle out of Miami. Same spot, same pick. I like him. Athletic, I like him there. And then the last pick, Ty Hamilton out of Ohio State, 6'3", 295. I think he would be the prototypical 3 technique, 5 technique in a 3-4 defense because he's not big enough to be a nose tackle. We're not going to try to turn him into a nose tackle. No, he's not big enough, but he can play like I said, the 4-eye, 5 technique and the 3-4. He can play 3 when we go to the nickel. That would be prototypical of his size. And again, we got to get younger at D-line. Here's a big opportunity to be able to do that. So let's go to the poll question, people. Again, poll on this. In this draft, grade this quarterback-focused draft. And when I say quarterback-focused, that means that we took a quarterback first in this draft. A, B, C, D, or F. Actually like this one. Again, if we're going to take a quarterback, which if it's going to be Jackson Dart, but if we're reaching, I like Giddens. I like CJ West. He hadn't shown up a whole lot in simulators. He's been gone by the 4th round there. So in this draft, I like this one too. I like this draft. I really like this one. But let's move on. Now, defensive line. The defensive line. Again, we took a defensive lineman first in this draft. First pick right out of the gate. Kenneth Grant, D-line, Michigan, 6'3", 340. It is what it is. I think if the Steelers, look, this is the position that a lot of people say the Steelers are going to take first. This is the guy that people believe is still going to be on the board. The Steelers need a nose tackle. That's what he played. He needs to be drafted at this spot. This is the popular pick for a lot of Steeler draft boards all over the place. A lot of Steeler draft boards. I love this pick. Well, again, we have to have a defensive tackle, a nose tackle. We've got to get younger on the D-line. This guy can be an immovable object, but he can also give you some pass rush ability. He has that ability. He isn't just a 2-down nose tackle. He can rush the passer when he needs to because he's really, really good with his hands. I like this pick at number 21 for the Steelers. Moving on to the 3rd round. Caleb Johnson was available again, and we snatched him right up, people. He was there. Again, didn't run as great on his pro day, but at the combine, but I think he'll be better on his pro day. But here's the thing about Caleb Johnson. You turn on the tape, he didn't look like a speed demon, but he didn't get caught. That's the thing. It's like, you turn on the tape. Let me see him in a game running versus, running with the track squad and training with track coaches for so long. He didn't get caught by a ton of people. So to me, that means a little bit more than combine running, in my opinion. So I like Caleb Johnson. Like I said, I think he'll fit into what the Steelers do. He would definitely fit better than Najee Harris. Next pick, Quincy Riley. We talked about him earlier. We were able to get him in the 4th round. I'm not sure he's going to be available when this draft comes around. But in this simulator, he was. I pounced on him. I like Quincy Riley. I like his size. The thing about him, we talk about man defense. The Louisville was in man 95% of their snaps this year. They played man. The Ron English is their defensive coordinator. They believe in putting their corners on an island. Hey, because they brought a ton of pressure. They did a ton of games and stuff up front. You guys need to cover and you guys need to hold up. Well, the Louisville's defense wasn't the greatest because teams could run on them, but Quincy Riley was pretty good. Teams stayed away from him a lot. Been a real good player the last 2 years, so it's a good pick for them. Next pick, we talked about him early, Jamari Caldwell. Yeah, he's still available again. Now, this would be double dipping. As far as a nose tackle. And maybe the Steelers would do that. I don't know. But again, getting young, that's something we got to do. And you can't have enough good defensive tackles. You just can't. You got to, it's just like offense. When do you stop investing in your D line? Never. Same question as far as offensive line. When do you stop investing in your offensive line? Never. So you never stop investing in any of that. So we got Jamari Caldwell there. Next up, Luke Kandra, interior offensive lineman. We spoke about him earlier. He was still available. 6'4", 323. Again, think the opposite, like I mentioned, the opposite of McCormick. When I mean the opposite, as far as the motor and technique, is that Kandra's got the technique. He's got it. He played in Power 4, Power 5, or whatever you want to call it. He played at that level all 4 years of college. Okay, so he's not like McCormick, who played at the FCS level, who was just better than everybody that he played against and didn't need technique. Kandra did play against really good competition, and he needed the technique. Now we just need to get him. He's just not as athletic. But still a very good interior. He's a road grader. And then last, Hollis Pierce out of Rutgers. 6'8", 344, offensive tackle. Again, we need a swing tackle. We need somebody to play both sides with Broderick and Troy. And this is a good developmental piece. He's big, and he would be a project. Now, I know a lot of people are like, come on, Big B. We don't need any more projects at tackle. However, the guy is athletic for his size. And again, we need somebody. And he was pretty productive in college, people. If we can just get a little bit more knee bend out of him, and that's his thing, is that he's 6'8", so he stood up a lot. But if you can get those knees bent and get some hip bend into him, he can be a player because he is athletic. He's got good feet. So it's just about learning how to play with his knees bent. If he can do that, we may have something here. So now on this one, people, we got a double poll. So let's go to the first one here. Yeah, we had to come up with something special. Grade this defensive line focus draft. That's the first. Grade this defensive line focus draft. A, B, C, D, and F. Again, we drafted a defensive lineman first. That's the focus. And then we went from there with everybody else. So grade that draft. Next, we have a second poll, which is always good. The second poll: which position focus do you prefer the Steelers use in this year's draft? So you know that we focused, and when I talk about focus, who we draft first, whether it's running back, corner, quarterback, or D-line. So which one would you guys prefer that the Steelers draft first? That's an interesting question, man. And here's the thing. Obviously, we could go into it thinking one thing and it'd be totally flipped around by the time we get to our pick. We could have plan A, and then we could be on plan F by the time it's time for us to pick, because you know how the draft goes. Just like the draft went last year, the draft was all over the place. Nobody thought that 6 quarterbacks were going to get picked in the top 12. Nobody believed that. But it happened. It happened. And so everybody had to change focus, change what they were doing, change game plans, and you just move on the fly. That's what the draft is all about. I think that's why we all love it, is because it's so unpredictable. So unpredictable. So look, man, with the Steelers draft and where they're going to draft and what we're doing, I just mentioned it. We don't know exactly where the focus needs to be. But we do know that we've got to get better at defensive line. We got to get better. We got to get younger. We got to draft the quarterback. We need to finally address the cornerback position and stop with the Band-Aids, the 1-year Band-Aids, and get somebody to be over there full time, opposite Joey Porter Jr. Get somebody to develop, and not necessarily a 7th round guy or an undrafted free agent that we're putting out there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love what Corey Trice can do. I love the effort that him and Beanie Bishop give. But you know what? Those guys, Beanie Bishop didn't get hurt. He didn't get drafted for a reason. Corey Trice couldn't stay healthy. He hadn't been able to stay healthy with the Steelers. He went in the 7th round for a reason. How about we draft somebody sooner with a little bit better ability and put those guys out there and see what they can do? That's what I'm talking about, addressing the position. And we obviously need a running back too. I love that they brought back Jaylen Warren. Kenneth Gainwell, I'm not so high on that signing, but it is what it is. But neither one of those guys are bell cow running backs. There's several in the draft that the Steelers can take. Several in this draft. Hey, come on, Big B. You don't want to depend on a rookie running back. I don't know why not. It's the freshest that they're actually going to be in their NFL career is when they're a rookie. That's the freshest they're going to be. So you might as well ride it out with them and go get us one. And again, they don't have to carry the ball 30 times a game. We got other guys to help them along the way. So I love that the draft is so unpredictable, but I don't like that the Steelers have so many holes. It'd be nice if they filled them all. I thought they'd do more in free agency, and they didn't, or at least they haven't up to this point. But we'll see what happens. I'm still excited. I still think that we've got an opportunity to do some things here. We'll see. So we'll see. So, hey, everybody, before we sign off here, I want to let y'all know, man, I'm having a little fun this weekend. Look, I'm a die-hard college basketball fan. I have been my entire life. Going out to Vegas this weekend. Look, I'm not going to leave y'all hanging. If any news, especially some Aaron Rodgers news, if that pops off, I'll be on. Don't get me wrong, but I am going out to Vegas. I'm rooting on my Louisville Cardinals. Anybody, look, I'm betting big. I'm betting big on the Louisville Cardinals. Now, I don't want to hear anybody look. Don't be bad mouthing me if it don't go the way that I think it's gonna go. Don't do that, man. Don't hurt my feelings, because you'll hurt my feelings. I promise you. But I'm going out to Vegas to have fun, man. We go every year, the first weekend of the tournament. So, but one thing I can promise you guys, I'm not going to forget about you. If some news pops off, I'll be out there popping off right with you. So, but Vegas is my thing, man, when it comes to NCAA tournament. I'm not a big gambler, so we don't go out there. I spend $100 to last you all day, man. Bet $10 a game, that'll last you all day. It's fun that way. But we're going out there to have some fun, man. So won't have our normal live that we usually have on Thursday. I apologize for that, but I'll be back. We'll be live on Monday. And again, if any news pops off, I'll be available. We'll go live and we'll hit you up from there, man. But until then, I will holler at you guys, man. Aloha.